And that's interesting that you talked about that, because there is a school of thought, and by a school of thought, I mean I read an Alan Moore interview, that creativity is really just the act of taking something that already exists and then changing the parameters with it. So in this case, you kind of took the shroud and then you kind of localized it a little bit, your shroud pitch, and you localized it a little bit, and then you took that and then you made the main character into a woman. Would you say that's when it clicked for you?
Yeah, it just felt like um, it would have I would have ended. I mean, obviously, a lot of my stories, and even like I guess the way Trese speaks, maybe at the beginning, I is, you know, me wanting to do a Batman story. If you think about it, if you take a look at it from that lens, so I guess I thought that it felt too typical, especially when I first saw the first sketch from Kajo. And I guess it was also something that was pretty rare as far as like you know, Philippine as far as the action genre is concerned. At least even back in the 80s and the 90s, it was typically you had your typical action star. You know, pretty rarely did you see a female lead. Of course, you know, comics wise, we do have strong female characters like Darna.
Yeah.
So maybe I guess in the back of my head, that was one of the things that fed into thinking maybe our main character should be a woman. And yes, that just it just felt more interesting to explore suddenly the, you know, the supernatural world with a female character, and more specifically someone who was always getting compared to her father and how her
Mm-hmm.
father ran things. So that was, I guess, one of those stories that was just bubbling underneath the storylines as she kept investigating, because people would, especially in the first book, you'll notice a lot of people who encountered her kept comparing her or thinking she was going to be like her dad. And you know, in a way, she was proving that she wasn't that. That, you know, she's not under her father's shadow.